Hello, I am Bentham. Welcome back to Factorio Railworld. Where in the previous episode we went a bit crazy and started building this whole new facility just outside of the main factory for producing circuits, and we're going to carry on working on that today. So first of all, I'm having a look around the factory. Circuits are still running a bit thin for my liking, which is why I'm building this whole new thing. And so I go over and check on modules, see what is there, and there's not much there, but I just grab what I can. And then do a bit of tweaking to try and get what I need to build up, so like disconnecting certain inserters and such like that one there, so that I can try and get back up to 50 of the three different kinds of modules that I like to keep supplied on. So then let's go over to our station here. We'll hop on board the bullet train, as I'm calling it, and we'll make our way over to the new facility once again. So nice simple journey, no weird detours or anything that time round, but they start to come along again as time goes on, where trains just go in random directions instead of the right one. So let's just carry on building what we were building. So we've got the basic structure of the smelting area set up, and what we need to do now is work out where all the conveyor belts will go in order to get the iron and the copper to where it needs to be. And it's a little bit fiddly because I'm still not 100% on how it's going to work, and I also run out of belts, so I have to hop on board the bullet train once again to go straight back to base and get the bots to resupply me on the blue express belts. And other things like that, like gears and so on, because the thing is, it also takes a huge amount of gears to make any express underground belts. What I do is, whenever I'm over in the base, I craft a couple, because I get a huge amount of gears once I've done that, and it allows me to make a few more when I'm working on things. So I decided to walk back because it seems slightly quicker when I'm already on one end of the factory. And I decided to put in the last couple of substations that need to be put in, so that we have all the loading and unloading areas covered. I don't know what half of these stations are going to do yet. At the moment I've got two of them designated, one for unloading iron and one for unloading copper. So what I do is I send the iron train that we have round to the iron station, and it disappears and doesn't come back for quite a while. And I can only imagine that it decided to go off to Iron Outpost 2. And just went on a little adventure over to there. Eventually it comes back and we can make use of it again. So we tell it to stop, and so while we work some stuff out, it starts unloading, and there we go. We have a bunch of iron built up on some belts now. So we're making progress. We now have actually some ore being delivered and things like that. So I carry on working out where the belts are going to go, because I'm still not 100% sure. And I want the iron to be on the lower part and the copper to be on the higher part, because copper will probably be coming along in higher amounts. Later on in the episode, I actually check what the requirements are for circuits, which is a good idea, seeing as this is the entire base of this factory. And you need 1 iron plate and 1.5 copper plate to make a circuit. So the copper production will not quite be twice as much, but it'll be about 1.5 as much as the iron, which sort of it throws my plans into disarray a bit, because I thought that I just sort of randomly assumed that the ratio was like 1 iron and 2 copper or something like that. So we may need. It does mean that if we have like 1 train delivering iron and 2 delivering copper, the iron train may be under a bit more stress to actually get the necessary supply. But anyway, we now have some iron being smelted. Look, there it goes, filling up the belt. And what we now need to work on is the actual circuit production itself. Work on how we're going to arrange the belts and so on and so forth to make sure that everything all fits together and so on. So I put down the standard setup of assemblers there. We've got the 3 copper wire assemblers and then the 2 circuit assemblers, and we're going to use the same belt arrangements as we do as well in the main factory and pretty much everywhere else where I ever do circuit production, where the circuit's going to be unloaded on the inside and the iron's going to be loaded on the outside. So we get some more belts in place to get all that sorted. And then I come across a problem. You see, I need the circuits to be unloaded. I need them to be unloaded below, because if I have them being unloaded from above, then it limits how big this facility can be, and I don't yet know how long each column of circuit production will be, so I don't want to be a bit hasty with anything like that, and just start having the circuit line block everything else. So what I need to do is maneuver it down through all the pipes here, and not all the pipes, all the conveyor belts here. And there are gaps, but the thing is, the way I've designed it is that there is a capacity for 4 ore belts going one way, and then 4 plate belts going the other way, which means an 8 block wide no man's land of just solid conveyor belts, which is pretty crazy, which is why I'm having to go back to base now and resupply once again on blue belts and so on, as well as underground belts, because of course the one way to maneuver through such a ridiculous expanse of belts is to use underground belts and so on. So I've got some of those being made now. So check my module production. There's some progress being made there now that I've cut off the supply of efficiency modules to the level 3 production. Then we walk our way back to the base again, because it does seem a little bit quicker than waiting around for the train, because at the moment the train's parked there, as you can see, and off it goes. So we're back again to carry on some work, and what I decided to do is put in a loop over here, so we're going to make it things a little bit better, because there's a few trains that have been driving off into the distance. Basically, if something is in the 90-degree junction that's further on, further along this, when a train sets off, it will use its pathfinding to decide that it needs to fly off over to Iron Outpost 2 or something along those lines. Basically, something about one train blocking another train can send that other train absolutely miles out of its way for no reason. So what I'm trying to do is add in a sort of extra line of defense by putting in this new junction here, and it also just helps with the trains to just move a little bit faster. And it means that now if a train does some weird pathfinding, it has to do it twice over if it wants to end up in Iron Outpost 2. So it'll be a lot less likely for that sort of thing to happen. So we get that all set up nicely, and I decided to put some lights around, because at the moment I'm trying to do a lot more work without the power suit on, the one with the night vision goggles, because I know some people don't like them, and I don't really as much either. So I try and keep those off whenever I can, though it does sometimes cause problems with not being able to see a thing. But anyway, we did a quick inspection of how the trains are running there with the new junction. Everything looked fine. So now I start working towards putting some copper lines in, and then I remember the whole circuits thing and stop again. And so I'm sat here puzzling over how I'm going to do this, because what I'm trying to do at the moment is get it so the circuits go off to the right and just get away from all of this ore that's being loaded on. The only thing is that in order for them to fit in, like, between the belts anyway, they would have to be using underground belts, which means that we can't use underground belts to get the circuits out, because they would interfere with the underground belts that we already have there and break everything. It just wouldn't operate, so it's not going to work like that. So I'm trying a few different options, and I put in the other circuit belts as well, because there will be 2 of them, and I'm just trying to maneuver them just away, just like any way to just get them out of there. At the moment I'm considering having just a series of steps of underground belts going further and further to the right, but then I suddenly realized that there is a way to fix this. So what I do is I reverse all of the inserters in on the iron loading thing, and then I tell the train to go over to the circuit copper station eventually. There it goes. So I tell it to go around, and then I start deconstructing some belts here, because we're going to change this up entirely. When it arrives in circuit copper, I change the name of circuit copper to circuit iron, and then I change the name of circuit iron to circuit loading. So this is now where the circuits are going to be delivered. Instead of having to maneuver through all the ore unloading, circuits are the topmost station and won't be interfered with too much. And now there's a bit more room to breathe. So we get the iron system unloading again from this new station. I've also designated test station 3 as circuit copper, so we've now got jobs for all the stations apart from test 4, though I think the bullet train in test 5 is temporary while I'm doing all this maintenance and setup and stuff, and I want to visit the station often. So we're putting in some more belts and things, and also sorting out the unloading system for circuits for when the time comes we actually get those delivered, because once we do, everything will be up and running. That's the important thing. We need to actually get ore coming in from somewhere. So we get that connected, and now that goes all the way over to the furnaces. Though at the moment there aren't any inserters, I'm going to leave that for now until I actually get some copper coming along. And then I do some tweaking on the belts here. I've changed my mind about how much is going to be going on here. I'm sort of, because I was sort of imagining having it so the outpost had a sort of infinite capacity, or well, not infinite, but very big, like, so it could produce twice as much in the way of circuits as the main base does now. But I realized that that's not really necessary, and I don't think I would ever be using that much capacity. So what I'm now having it is that instead of splitters taking off bits of copper to feed each column, each of the 2 copper lines will supply one of the 2 columns, and that will be all that there is. So downscaling a bit my plans, which is probably a good idea, because there's only a few episodes left at this point. We're in follower robot count 18 now, so once this is done we've got 19, 20, and then we're done. So yeah, time is short, and there's not much point in making really big systems if things are going to end soon. But anyway, I finally worked out how the circuits are going to join up to everything. Unfortunately, I have run out of underground express belts again, so I start making my way back to base. Unfortunately, the bullet train sets off just before I get to it, so I just have to walk instead, which is probably alright. It takes about the same amount of time, probably. And we run it over to get resupplied by the blue belts and so on and so forth. Check up on modules, and things are working alright again. I've managed to build up a supply, so I hook things back up again so that level 3 efficiency modules can continue in their production. So anyway, after checking up on blue belts, I realised that they've stopped, and then I checked the pipes and there's no lubricant left. And then suddenly I remember that a couple of episodes ago, when I was sorting out this whole loop for the iron and plastic trains here, I deconstructed some lubricant pipes and said, oh, I'll fix those later, and I didn't. So now we need to actually get that sorted, because it's become a bit of a problem. It's not too difficult to do, though. It does look a bit messier than previously, because I can't do a straight line anymore. Thanks to the positioning of the loop, but we get it connected up again, and the lubricant supply is a bit low, but I guess the chemical plant will be able to deal with that back at the oil outpost and get all that sorted again. I do need to check up on the oil outpost, actually. I haven't been there for a little bit now, and I don't know if the oil fractions are still running alright. But anyway, we get resupplied on the blue belts again, so we can go off and get on with other things. I start making the blue underground belts, a good 8 of them. Get resupplied on the gears and so on, and then we can set back off to try and finish off our work on the system. Walking once again, I think I'm just going to give up on the bullet train. I'll probably deconstruct it soon. I can't remember if I do in this episode or not, but if I don't, then I will. But anyway, we'll carry on setting up this, and there we go. So we have the 2 circuit lines now go and onto each side of the circuit loading. So we finished setting up all the inserters and then the assemblers for the other side of the circuit production, and this will form the basic structure, and we will extend it from here. We could have, I think, up to 4 times as much production as this, maybe a bit more even, depending on how things work out, but basically it will be enough to deal with our circuit requirements. We may even be able to deconstruct the circuit production at the main base and possibly just turn that into another branch of advanced circuit production. Anyway, I started trying to set up another train and completely mess it up and get coal all over the place, but I managed to clear that up. And what I'm finally doing now is having some ore delivered properly to the base. So I had a bit of iron in a train handy, which I'd used to set some stuff up there, but now we actually have the trains working. So I've sent the iron train off to Iron Outpost 1, and the copper train off to Copper Outpost 1, and they will steal a bit of the production from both of those. But I immediately realised I've messed it up, because we have this problem that I had before in plastic and oil, where one rail block was nested inside another, and the trains blocked each other from moving. So I get that fixed, and the thing is, it's also happening in copper. But before I go over there, I need to check up on Iron Outpost 1, because I haven't been here for a good while now, and a lot of stuff has shut down. It's a lot worse for wear than it once was, and needs a bit of work to get back up to a good speed again. So I decided to add in another column down here, and I've switched from doing the horizontal to the vertical columns, because the horizontal ones are a bit too big for my liking. So it was sort of you'd wait for the iron production to get really low, and then you'd put those in, and it'd be really high again. And if you do these smaller columns, then it's a bit more easy to deal with, and it doesn't take infinite resources to set up a new line. So anyway, now that the main production of iron is shifting, I need to do a bit of messing about with the belts to get some blue belts where they're needed, instead of where they were needed a long time ago. And then we need to fix this weird system that I've got here, where there's a splitter and then a combining thing, and I can just put those all in one go to have a corner splitter belt balancer thing. And that all looks fine, and then the backups run down a bit, and it looks alright. So I decided to leave that. Maybe I'll have to put in a bit more production later. Now there's 2 trains being dealt with by this, but it's probably alright. So anyway, I just watch as this train goes, and this one's going back to Iron Outpost. I want to do a bit of tweaking on the timetables, because I haven't done that in many episodes, and I've learned more about the train timings since then. So I do a bit of tweaking there. The thing is, at first I'm waiting for Copper Train 1 to turn up, and then I suddenly remember that the entire reason I'm going to Copper Outpost 1 is because I know that there's a gridlock there and both the trains have stopped. So I wait for the bullet train instead, and I can hop on board that. It takes a slightly weird route again, going 1 loop further than it should do, but it's not too much of a problem, I guess. And we can hop out And I do a quick, I don't know what I was doing there. I think I was trying to check up on stuff and then remembered what I came here for. So I donned the power suit because I'm lazy. I want to run, what was I trying to, I think I was trying to say quicker and faster at the same time. Quaster. Anyway, we're going to try and run faster and get down to the gridlock that we've got here. Stick in a couple more signals to get that fixed with that sorted. Let's check up on Copper Outpost 1 because this is having the same problem. There's a lot of mining drills shut down. Not as many as in Iron Outpost 1 though, so there's not so much that needs doing with it. But it looks like a lot of the mining drills that are still there have you can see the copper thinning, so they may all run out at once. That is a danger. But anyway, with so many mining drills deconstructed there, we need to make a few more, but I don't think there's enough gone to set up an entire new column, so I just set up half of one on one side. And that will probably do fine. And it's a pretty simple process to get it, to get them all powered and moduled and connected up. Though I do have to sort of route it a bit sideways to get it into the right place, so I can connect it nicely. Stick a few blue belts in there to keep things running smoothly, and that will hopefully keep the copper supply nice. A substation in there to keep everything powered. Then we hop on board the train. It is the wrong train though. It's the copper. It's the one to copper 1, so I decided to hop off at the junction, which caused a little bit of damage there to my shields, but it's alright, and the train stops and starts. And one of the trains here had run out of power, so I stick some more coal in it, which clears the blockage and all the trains set off again. But the thing is that at the moment we don't have any coal loading in this new station, and it's a little bit fiddlier to do that because of the way everything's set up. Because it's all slanted, the copper belt will have to zigzag a bit, and because everything has to zigzag a bit to work properly, it means that there's sort of less space for other things to move, and also everything's closer together. So it's going to be a bit fiddly working that out. I think I'm going to have to puzzle over that a bit at some point, but at the moment I'm just sorting out other random things like setting up this train here. So this one is what is this one for actually? Yes, this is for the actual circuit loading. So it takes a slightly weird route there. I don't know what it's doing. Again, with the slightly weird problems with the loops that I need to try and fix. So this one goes to the new circuit loading station and starts being loaded with circuits, which is awesome because that shows some progress. And we're nearly at the end of the episode now, and it's taken this long to actually get this whole thing going. And then we make our way over to Station 5, and once I get to Station 5, I can start off with the unloading system. I'm also going to change the name of Station 5 to Circuit Unloading or something. I forget what I call it. But anyway, we put in the not the assemblers, the inserters, to unload all the new circuits, and then we need to work out where we're going to join them up with the main line. I realise that there's a convenient little line just right next to the labs that I can send something along. I've probably set that up intentionally many moons ago, with the plans that it will just allow something to go by them if it needs to. So I'm very proud of past me for doing that, and what I can now do is use that little line there to get this new circuit supply moving in. So annoyingly there's a signal sort of in the way, but I can move that up without any problem. And then we need to connect up the two sides of the line that I've got going. I have to resupply on blue belts. Production is back up and running properly again with the lubricant pipes reconnected. And then with this last little bit, we have it almost done. I decide to put in one of the splitter belt balancer things, and then over here I just add in that quick little bit, and there we go. The circuits are now being unloaded. Add in the chests for buffer purposes. And then just do a bit of messing about in other parts of the station as well. Check up on the smeltery where everything's running super fast. And then everything's broken, and the reason for this is that there are as many blocks as trains, or there were for a second. And what I do there we go. I just deconstructed the bullet train because that was part of the problem, and we need to sort out like preventing that sort of thing in future. Because it's not a good idea to have like a position where a train, well, there can be as many trains as rail blocks, because then you just end up with blockages everywhere. I did put a couple more what do you call them, signals in to try and fix that, and hopefully that does do it. But anyway, what we need to do now is actually connect up the circuits to the main system, because so far they're just filling up this belt. So we get rid of this this belt balancer here, because that should be fine. Everything's already balanced, I think. And then we connect this up, and look at how well the circuits are flowing now. It's worked. We actually have some nice supply going, though at the moment we need a bit more because of course the belt runs down pretty quickly. So then for the last minute I just sort of watch as the trains go by, because it's quite cool to see them all just moving around, parking up and then leaving again. And look at this, isn't it brilliant? We've got all 5 of these stations operating now, all with a purpose, and we've got another big station over in the west as well, that's growing rapidly. So next episode we'll be doing even more work on that. But anyway, it's time to go back to the middle. There's that loop that I haven't did anything with. I might do next episode, but I shall say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.